Alright, you guys should be able to hear me now. Apparently, my very expensive microphone has fucking died on me. So, let's try this again. I don't think it's an OBS problem. I think it's the fact that my $80 microphone finally succumbed to the roaches that are crawling all over the frickin' house. Yay! Alright, so take two. I am saying good morning to Reality Check, Sarah Lee, and good afternoon to Eric Orr. A good morning to a Neilk in my chat. A good morning to Draconith and a welcome. Pull up a chair and your favorite brew. This show is about to get on the road. And a welcome to a Goddess Bree, who's the first time in my live chat. Pull up a favorite brew. We're getting ready to do some news and some fun. Good afternoon. Yes, this is where I went, Jason. 10:30 Eastern Standard Time, U.S. Monday through Friday, I do my little show. Porpoiseful, good morning. Let me see who else. Good morning, Doubting Tommy. Let me see. And as I scroll down, morning Rhetorical. Anybody else pop up in the chat? Oh, got a Numbed Skull. Good morning to Numbed Skull. And Fuckwad. And a Daydale Murphy. Good morning. Let me see here, and I think that's everybody. I hope. Oh, CT, good morning. Yeah, I am using the headset. It appears that my $80 Audio Technica microphone has decided to say F you. I quit. Early retirement. I did. I said good afternoon. I acknowledged you were in the chat, so to you too. Alright, you're heading to the gym. So a lot of things have transpired between yesterday and today. A couple of corrections that I put in the blog, but I am going to do it today anyway. First correction. It wasn't Bolton that was saying those things. It was a private message between his girlfriend and a friend of hers on Facebook. He's still trying to say that those very racist type of messages were taken out of context. And my question is, how? That's my whole question, is how can openly racist statements like the ones that we saw the other day, or yesterday to be exact, be taken out of context? I doubt that. There's only one reason you would say that, and it's because you thought those things. Oh, well, two. One, because you actually think in that nature, and two, because you were being over the top sarcastic and making fun of someone else. So if it isn't two, it's got to be one, and it doesn't seem like there's much background letting us know that you were making fun of someone, so what are we to assume, Miss Joe? You know, not that Bolton is not under scrutiny for things that he is already doing, and the fact that most people thought that she was a mistress before she became a girlfriend, and that he is still married to his wife, and they are not formally divorced. And that is over there in the UK. Today we have 3 US stories, but before we get to those, we are going to delve into some tweets and some breaking news from the Department of Justice. So let me get this thing to show up. And everything is not working today, apparently. Okay, hang on. Blip, there we go. Alright, so DOJ DHS report, 3 out of 4 individuals convicted of international terrorism and terrorism-related offenses were foreign-born. We're not surprised, but I'm going to keep reading just a little bit. Departments of Justice and Homeland Security released data for the first time on terrorism-related activity. Today, the Department of Justice and the Department of Homeland Security released a report revealing that 3 out of every 4, or 402, individuals convicted of international terrorism-related charges in U.S. federal courts between September 11, 2001 and December 31, 2016 were foreign-born. Over the same period, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement removed approximately 1,716 aliens with national security concerns. Further, in 2017 alone, DHS had 2,554 encounters with individuals on the terrorist watch list, also known as the FBI's terrorist screening database. The other 25% were Antifa. Yeah, traveling to the United States. This report was required by Section 11 of President Trump's Executive Order 13780, protecting the nation from foreign terrorist entry into the United States, which declared that it is the policy of the United States to protect its citizens from terrorist attacks, including those committed by foreign nationals. Directed a series of actions to enhance the security and safety of the American people. The actions directed by executive order have raised the baseline for the vetting and screening of foreign nationals, prevented the entry of malicious actors, and enhanced the safety and security of the American people. So there is the brief report. As always, the rest of it should be linked in the description. That's what I was going to do that I forgot because my brain is not functioning at 100% capacity. Is update the description at the bottom because I'm a dumbass and I'm okay. Okay. Let's see here. Scrolling down. Edit video. And here, scroll over, hit save, and that should be showing up in the description box right now, or before you hear me say right now, because there's usually a 15 to 20 second delay. So, yep, the link to the rest of the DOJ report is below, because I didn't want to get into it too much, but that is a brief synopsis of what is going on. Today, our tweets are from the CIA. For 2 decades, Tony Hiley has curated artifacts for the best museum you've never seen. In a recent episode of the Cypher Brief Intelligence Matters podcast, she walks Michael Morell through our rich history. Right. Sorry, 15-second delay. Like I said, my brain isn't working. I blooper. And live, the bloopers are either funny or rather frustrating, depending on how the bloopers work. And what they mean by the history stuff, because I clicked on the link, more stuff from that was classified before, more historical documents for all of you, hey Callie, for all of you history buffs to sort through. So that's what's going on in the CIA. The Department of State, Secretary Rex Tillerson arrives in Vancouver to co-host the Vancouver Foreign Ministers meeting that we discussed yesterday in the news on security and stability on the Korean Peninsula with Canadian Foreign Minister. So he has arrived in Canada. So that meeting was discussed yesterday on the news. They are trying to figure out how they are going to handle the Korea situation. They are thinking about more sanctions, but the sanctions that they already have on North Korea aren't working. To me, from what I have seen, they are just serving to make matters worse for the North Korean nationals. And some people would say getting rid of the sanctions would make it better. I could agree with that. I could disagree with that. But Kim Jong-un and North Korea, in my opinion, don't need to be a nuclear power. Kim Jong-un is mentally unstable. He's a spoiled little brat. He doesn't need to have access to any kind of nuclear weapons, in my opinion. And I hope they come to some sort of solution. Now, some people would say the best solution would be a strategically placed missile right in the middle of Un's palace, wiping out the entire regime. And if you look at it from a half-assed point of view, I would be agreeing with you, but then again, that would leave a power vacuum, and how would you fill it? How do you go about uniting a nation that has been divided? Yep. It takes a little while for new avatars to show up, Callie. Give it time, dear. Give it time. Yep, timing. So we will see how these. I will keep an eye on the talks today. I will make sure that I get updates to either blog you guys out with, or do a little short video update on how the meeting went and what it is about the meeting. 20 seconds. Cool. What points were discussed in the meeting, and if they came to a course of action. So those are the government tweets of the morning. So let's get on to the other stuff, shall we? Alright, yay! And the breaking news doohickey is still up. Flip, there we go. Yay! Alright, South Carolina. Gotta love bloopers. Wouldn't be one of my streams without them. South Carolina, 4 officers hurt in shooting. A call late Monday night had officers dispatched to a domestic call in York, which led to a search of a suspect who had fled the scene before their arrival. They took to the woods looking for the suspect, and golly, I really need somebody to edit when I'm half asleep. Before their arrival. Yay! Editing the news live, because why not? They took to the woods looking for the suspect and were wounded. When shots rang out from the trees, the suspect suffered wounds as well. The wounded officers are located in Carolina's Medical Center in Charlotte, North Carolina. Their conditions are unknown. You just got the notification for the show. Oh, holy crap. Why does that not surprise me? Look! Yeah, I know, because I'm editing it. So shoot me. Yes, call it fake news, even though all my sources are below. Pick on me all you want. I love you too, Ericor. Alright, next one. Alright, Philippine province declares calamity as volcano lava spreads. So, a province in the Philippines has been declared as a state of calamity on Tuesday. This declaration comes as lava from a volcano has spread to a 6-kilometer radius, creating a no-go zone. It has also spread ash on farming villages nearby. Mount Mayon is a volcano in the Albay province in the center of the Bicol region. Mayon has been erupting since Saturday and has led to the number of evacuees to close in on 22,000. By placing the province in a state of calamity, it has now access to more funds. This is the equivalent of placing a town in the United States in a state of emergency. Bachira has been quoted as saying this kind of eruption will take about weeks, so we have to sustain the operations in the evacuation centers. We need to use the calamity funds. This quote was told to a news channel in the area. Yep, the floor is really made of lava. Your fake sources. Sacrifice a virgin. If that would only work. The problem is, where would you find one in this day and age? That isn't prepubescent. If you guys are wondering, the Nightbot is circulating a link to a forum that is going to be on a website that I am currently figuring out how to design. The forum will allow you to place news stories in there for me to look at, to either debunk or to further research for my show. That way you get to tell me what news you want to see on my show. So if you click on that link, you can participate. Morning, Ghost Dog. How are you? Sincerely, sacrifice a gender non-binary. There's so many of those, and they're useless to society otherwise. Okay, and last but not least, this has been looming over our head for years, not just months. Looming government shutdown leads to big decisions. Friday night is the deadline for the government shutdown unless they come to certain agreements on issues and topics. We are still waiting on a decision for Dreamers, immigration as a whole, the wall, and a whole lot more. I won't be the... What? There's a 404 error? Let me check that. There is a 404 error? There shouldn't be a 404 error. Oh. What do you mean not found? I paid for this stupid thing. Okay, hang on. Let me see what happens if you remove the emoji. If you remove the emoji, it shows up. Yep, okay. Yep, to sign up to the forum is free. And like I said, you get to tell me what kind of news you want me to read on the show. Yep. He was joking. I know. I'm gonna have to space it out when I go back in there and edit him. The two bogus possibility visible letters from the end of the link. Yep, YouTube chat issue. YouTube link glitch. Ah, yep, the link glitch because they're trying to keep people from, shilling something other than what they want them to shill. But you didn't hear that from me. There are also agreements to be made for disaster aid and children's health insurance programs. Okay, immigration. Issues on the table are protection for the children, limits on immigration for families, border security, and getting rid of the visa lottery system in favor of a merit system. They are also still going back and forth on DACA or the Dreamers. So there is that there. They're still going back and forth on the Dreamers. Stopgap spending, which I don't think should be a thing, but since they keep pushing back the budget and pushing back the budget, they did it all through the Obama era. In lieu of the passing of a budget for the next year, a deadline is looming on the stopgap spending in order to prevent a partial government shutdown. If the shutdown happens, it will affect national parks and send many bureaucrats home. Emergency services, Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare will still be funded. Even though it has been stated that no one wants to shut down, Democrats whose votes are needed for other stopgap spending bills downvoted such bills last month. And they did this twice last month. Let me see. Budget gaps. Both sides are looking for a deal in order to raise spending caps. The caps limit the money for both domestic and military programs. If the cap is raised, it means a $1.1 trillion annual budget limit. And then the disaster aid that they're still going back and forth on. The bill totaling $81 billion stalled in the Senate after passing in the House. Senate leaders were hoping to add it to other legislation. Why, I have no clue. Lawmakers from disaster-declared states are growing anxious about the delays in funding because they want to exact reports and they want to get on with their lives. If the shutdown happens, spending will spike to pay for all the extra security needed to prevent people from accessing unstaffed monuments and parks. Yeah. The shutdown being imminent is because of the Obama administration's refusal to set a budget the entire time that administration was in office. You cannot run a government, a business, or even a household without a budget. You can't spend money you don't have. Let's face it. If we were spending money the way the Obama administration spent money, all of us would be bankrupt, homeless, and without any means of getting anywhere, transportation-wise. We'd all be broke and homeless. But however, they went through 8 years without a budget because they kept pushing it back and not answering questions or setting a budget and sticking with the budget, which always pissed me off. Now you have the disaster aid, and the senators were hoping to add it to other legislation. What other legislation? Why can't you just pass the disaster aid by itself? Why do you have to add it to a bill? Why? It makes no sense. It's disaster funding. It should be passed on its own merits. It should be passed by itself. It shouldn't be added to anything else. What bill were you adding it to that it got shot down? Was it some sort of bill nobody wanted or needed? That's something to look into. CHIP, Children's Health Insurance Program. Due to the passing of legislation that removed the mandatory sign-up to the ACA, the Congressional Budget Office has discovered it costs nothing to renew CHIP, a low-income health insurance program that pays for health care for 9 million children. However, authorization for the program expired October 1st, and several states are running out of funds for the program. Dems threaten to shut down government if they don't get what they want in the DACA bill, Trump's fault. Yep, exactly, Nilk. Reminds me of when the Dems refused to accept any budget that made them to have to use Obamacare themselves, blame the shutdown on the they're always going to blame the shutdown on the Republicans, because if it was up to them, there would be no budget and they would spend and they would tax us more. And I'm sorry, but their past actions is pretty much what dictates to me what they're doing and what they're going to continue to do. In the past, they wanted to raise taxes so they had more spending. Now, we can't do that. We in the private sector that have jobs that either are hourly pay or salary, we can't do that. We can't just ask for a raise, expect that we're going to get the raise, and spend like we're getting the raise, because that will be living beyond our means, and we'll come up with so many financial problems at that point that we will have to file for either reorganization or just go completely belly up. Yes, Doubting Tommy, they are acting like spoiled children. Okay? You have 3 states that desperately need funding in order to get back on their feet. You have Puerto Rico, you have Florida, and you have Texas, because of the hurricanes that ravaged those 2 states and that territory. And you're going to sit there and tell me that you wanted to add the $81 billion that could help them to another bill that was probably not going to pass? I would like to sit down with some of these legislators that wanted to add these to another bill and go, what bill did you want to add it to? Can I see that bill, please? Can I read it? Why were you going to add it to the bill? Why can't you just vote on the disaster bill by itself? Bree, let's take away all the politicians' pay and make them learn to budget. Exactly. Exactly. To me, they shouldn't have salaries. Historically, they didn't even get paid. They were doing this along their actual career that they already had. We need to go back to that. We should make lobbying illegal, or at least put major restrictions on it to where money can't exchange hands or take place. We should have restrictions or an outright ban on politicians receiving funds from interest groups. We need to bring politics back to where it needs to be, and that is representative of the people and not politicians lining their own pockets. I mean, that is my opinion, because the government has gotten very corrupt. We need term limits on Congress, because I'm sorry, if you're there for more than 2 or 3 terms, you're a career politician, in my opinion, and you are forgetting that you're there to serve the people's interests, and you start serving your own. And that's what leads to corruption and continuing the corruption in government. I don't want to have to line your pockets in order for you to listen to me. I put your ass in office because you told me what you were going to do. And that's what I expect you to do. If I put your ass in office because you promised to do something, I expect you to do that thing you promised to do. And if you don't follow through with the promise that got you voted in, I'm not voting for your ass next time. That's not happening. You're in there to serve my interests, not your own. Well, I didn't say exactly when it got corrupted, reality check. I'm just saying it's been corrupt for a while. Good morning, UT33. It used to be scandal and fraud to accept corporate money for influence. Now it is promoted openly. Yeah, it is. It is promoted openly. And it's sick. It's absolutely sickening. It's absolutely sickening. It shouldn't be happening, but it is. All these politicians need to be stripped of their salary, and they need to be given hourly wages. Not a salary, hourly wages. Because let's face it, from what I have seen over the past few years alone, they're out of session more than they're in session. So if you're going to pay them, let's say $10 an hour when they're in session. Don't pay them if they don't work. Don't pay them if they're campaigning. Don't pay them if they're not in that congressional building legislating. Have them clock in. And have them clock out when they're done. Because these salaries are overblown. And every so often, I think it happened last year, that they were trying to pass a bill to raise their salaries. Ah, thank you for joining the coffee club, Bree. Thank you for your subscription. What is sickening is the party responsibilities. They spend half or more of the time fundraising for their party. Yes, Numbed Skull, they do. They most certainly do. Sorry. I might have to turn that down. I don't know how exactly to turn that down. I'm going to have to fiddle with it. Yeah, that's my Streamlabs. Alright, so let's see what we've got going on the NPR.
Public.
Let's see here. I don't know how to turn it down. I'm going to have to figure out how to turn that down. Alright, good. Hopefully you guys can hear the NPR when I play it.
Radio in Atlanta, WABE is right here.
From NPR News in Washington, I'm Corva Coleman. President Trump is tweeting this morning blaming Democrats over immigration legislation. He continues to demand that a southern wall be built at the border with Mexico. Trump has rejected bipartisan legislation intended to address the DACA program that covers migrants brought illegally to the U.S. as children. The president did so in a now notorious meeting involving the use of vulgar language. South Carolina Republican Senator Lindsey Graham was at that meeting. He is urging President Trump to focus on the DACA program.
Mr. President, close the deal. 80% of Americans want to give the DACA kids a better life, and 80% of Americans want to secure our border and change a broken immigration system.
Senator Graham spoke to WLX-TV. Cleanup continues in Southern California from last week's mudslides and flooding. At least 20 people were killed. Crews in several counties are now beginning a new week of searching. Danielle Carson reports 3 people are still missing.
The massive cleanup is facing formidable obstacles. There are downed trees and power lines. Boulders, some bigger than cars, are blocking many roadways. In some places, the mud can still be up to 10 feet deep. LA Fire Department Captain Scott Quinlan says so long as there's a glimmer of hope, search crews are making a last-ditch effort to find survivors.
Just going through structures that got blown right off their foundations and addresses of where the missing people are from, where they might have gone to.
At least much of the water on roadways has receded, so crews are able to use bulldozers and other heavy equipment to push away debris that was several feet deep. For NPR News, I'm Danielle Carson in Pasadena, California.
In Germany, the number of migrants seeking asylum fell sharply last year. Fewer refugee arrivals could ease coalition government talks between Chancellor Angela Merkel's Conservatives and the Social Democrats. Esme Nicholson reports they're still at odds over capping the number of arriving refugees.
Interior Minister Thomas de Maizière says the number of new asylum seekers registered in Germany dropped significantly last year to roughly 186,000. This is a sharp contrast to 2015, when 890,000 new asylum applications were filed. The majority of asylum seekers who arrived last year are from Syria, Iraq and Afghanistan. Speaking to journalists in Berlin, de Maizière stressed the number was still much too high.
Muss es unser Ziel sein, dass Schutzbedürftige nach Europa kommen.
He added it is paramount that refugees fleeing war and persecution are able to come, not economic migrants. For NPR News, I'm Esme Nicholson in Berlin.
On Wall Street, the Dow Jones Industrial Average is up 256 points at 26,059. It's up more than 1%. You're listening to NPR.
And that's the NPR news for the day. I'm glad that came in loud and clear. I gotta figure out why the Streamlabs came out so loud, because I have no clue why it was an ear blast for everybody. There's still things about this program that I need to figure out, and that is one of them apparently. Let's see. Oh, there's something for us. Every time something goes wrong in California, everyone asks me if I'm okay. People need to understand the entire UK is 57% the size of my state. I mean, we've got people that are, odds are if something's on fire, flooding, or falling down, I'm fine. Okay. It's just that your headset mic is quiet. Yeah, I tried to turn it up. It's in the 90s, and I've got it turned up all the way in OBS, so I don't know what's going on. Usual stuff. 44-year-old trying to use really cool tech. Shit's gonna go wrong. Alright, let's see. On to the next.
Your mother was a hamster, and your father smelt of elderberries.
Yep. Here we go. Let me see. Make sure you guys can... Alright, I see the bar moving. That means you guys can hear me. Yay, you guys can hear me. Now I have to find the right set of tabs. Click on the right thingy. Come down here. And go blip. Alright, first one is a video recommendation from Honey Badger Radio titled White Women Can't Be Raped, Rage 81. This is a collab she did with Dr. Randomer Cam. Really interesting, very entertaining, and she hits a lot of points, as does Dr. Randomer Cam. And I'm a blind programmer. It's actually a common mic issue. Yeah, I think my Audio Technica one died, which frustrates the living crap out of me because that thing wasn't cheap. Without California, half your groceries would be gone. Well, seeing how it's supposed to be snowing tomorrow here in Georgia, I have to get to the store lickety-split, because even in Georgia, when there's an inkling of an idea, of an itch of a thought that it may snow, the first things to disappear are bread, milk, and eggs. So the only thing I always assume during a snowstorm is there's a lot of people in Georgia having egg sandwiches and drinking milk. That's just the way my brain works. Second one is a channel recommendation. Irate Prostate. Funny name, funny guy. You see him in live chats. He does have a channel where he does live stream discussions. Some of the discussions are just shooting the shit. Some of the discussions are about issues. And some of the discussions are about what's going on YouTube. So check out old Irate. I don't think you're going to be disappointed. See, apparently not. It's a priority for me. I don't like running out of toilet paper. Red Robot with the satellite of unrequited love, Sunday Fun Day, The Late Late Show, and travels in Tumblr space. You can't miss Red Robot's channel. He's absolutely hilarious, completely entertaining, and over the top with his announcer voice. I can't do his announcer voice. But Sunday Fun Day is where he has me and a whole bunch of other shitlords, usually a rotating panel, talking about all sorts of stuff, taking the piss out of other things, and sometimes joking on one another. He does do travels in Tumblr space. Yes, that does spell out tits when you abbreviate it, where he takes the piss out of what he finds on Tumblr. The Late Late Show, which is usually a live stream as well, and he also does gaming streams too. So take a look at Red Robot. Go check him out. And the last one is a video recommendation. Famous Last Words from the Beardbarian, Axes and A-Holes, Season 1 finale. Yes, Season 1 is over for Beardy. Moment of silence. But a second season is on the way, which is really cool because who doesn't love our bearded barbarian from the north? I know I love the guy because he's absolutely funny and completely entertaining. And if you haven't heard of the Beardbarian, where have you been? I mean, seriously, where have you been? He's all over Twitter, and you can always find him on Magog's channel doing side quests. And as you can see, he has his own channel here too. And he does pop up on live streams from time to time. So, go check out Beardy. And those are the video recommendations. And now for the scrolling live stream announcements, of which I will read. Please take note, all times I call out are Eastern Standard Time because I live in Georgia and that's the way I roll. But at 8:30 in the morning, you have Rhetorical Sunrise with Rhetorical Entertainment, where he has first cup of coffee with you, talks about this, that, and the other normal morning stuff as you're trying to wake up and get your brain moving. On Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, which means it's not happening today, Numbed Skull has the Great Debate at 9 o'clock in the morning. So check out that tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. The Kumite, Tonka Saw, and he's probably playing nothing but music right now. He starts at 11. Usually a couple of people hollering at each other, throwing insults at each other, Tonka ranting. It's a mishmash of different things. There's really no explanation for the Kumite except for it can be really hilarious sometimes and really entertaining other times. Not that things that are hilarious are not entertaining. They are, but, go check that out. But not right now because we're not done. And he's still playing music. He usually plays about 10, 15 minutes of music, sometimes 20 minutes of music before he actually starts talking. At 8 p.m., Jason has his Hellcats live stream where he either games, talks, bullshits. Probably a cartoon. Yep. And does other things. And in order to figure out what's going on the Hellcats live stream on Jason's channel, you're going to have to subscribe to his or follow his Twitter. That way he can tell you what the programming is for the night. At 9 p.m. on Scribe Light, we have the Lords of the Night, and soon after the Lords of the Night has concluded, Minions of the Zoo has their night stream. It is Tuesday. I don't have it written down. I don't think she's doing it tonight, so I am not going to tout it out, but write this down for next week. Our own Panina Chan usually has gaming streams starting at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but she is on her way to the Midwest from the East Coast, so she may not be doing one tonight. And her gaming streams are absolutely hilarious. So please check out the creators that I have highlighted and check out the live streams. They're always talking about different things. Even though every time I tune into the Lords of the Night, they start out with current events and then they go into other things. And Scribe does commercials. So, there you have it. Let me see here. And this is a call for help. Learn to garden, grow your... This is a call for help. I can't find any cancer articles to do dramatic readings of. I need your help to find these articles and bring them to me, so you guys can hear the torture in my voice as I read these cancerous articles in an over-dramatic fashion. That is why there is not a cancerous article this morning. I couldn't find one. So if you want me to do the fun part of the show, I need your help. I need cancer. I can't believe I actually said that. I can't believe I'm actually admitting to that. But if you want to hear me cringe on a live stream, I need cancer articles. Or funny articles if you want to hear me laugh. That will be up to you. And until next time, my friends, may your coffee ever flow, may your caffeine be ever strong, and may you have a totally terrific Tuesday. Take care, my coffee nuts.